has no phone.
Maybe she wasn't. She was emailing.
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call vote, please, Mrs. Martin. Roll call.
Director Murray is absent. All other members are present.
Do I have an approval for the minutes, committee minutes? Meeting minutes? All in favor? Aye. Moving on to 2.2, approval of board meeting minutes. All in favor? Moving on to adoption of the agenda, motion to adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to special presentations under 4.1. The high school students of the month for December are Evelyn Dyer and Mackenzie Giesemann. The award is sponsored jointly by the Fredericksburg and Jonestown Lions Clubs, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Lions Club. The middle school student for the month is James Voigt, and the December student of the month is Jalen Bradley. This award is sponsored by the Northern Lebanon County Rotary Club, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Rotary Club. Boys Cross Country Team, Lancaster Lebanon League Sportsman Award Recognition. We have some special guests.
So the Sportsmanship Award for every sport is voted on by the lead coaches, and our boys were named the recipients of the Section 2 Sportsmanship Award. They were also pictured in the paper yesterday, I believe it was, for ringing the bell at BG's.
What are you doing out there?
So each one of the kids is getting a medal that says on the back, Boys Cross Country LL Section 2 Sportsmanship Award 2018.
I was running blindly through a field right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll get to great representation tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before you run off.
I will now turn it over to our student board representative, Lindsay Kaiser.
In student council matters, our main event right now is Class Wars. That will be next week, December 17th through 20th. This year's events include a coat drive. That started this week up until Thursday after school. We're collecting coats on behalf of the volunteer club. The coats will be given to the club to bring with them as donations on the annual New York City trip. The council would like to stress that we need heavy coats and blankets. If you have new or gently used coats or blankets, please send them to school with your students. We're also having a food drive for Brandon Shunk's Eagle Scout project. He's holding a food drive for the Joy Food Pantry. The drive will take place this week from December 12th through 14th. Many people in the local area will benefit, and in order to help the Joy Pantry for the holidays and Brandon obtain his Eagle Scout status, please remind your students to bring in non-perishable food, cleaning supplies, or hygiene products. There is also a Christmas tree in the high school lobby. From December 12th through 14th, students can bring in or make ornaments to decorate this tree based upon class colors. The items for the coat drive and the ornament collection can be brought to Mr. Saner's room 63 in the high school, and items for the food drive will be placed in boxes at lunch. Class wars will also include Spirit Days next week. Attendance, we're going to award points based upon classes that have the lowest overall percentage of absences over the course of the class wars. We're also going to have minute to win at lunch games, penny wars. The proceeds will be given to the volunteer club. And we're going to have hall decorating. The classes have been working on putting together decorations for the Christmas hall decoration competition. That will be this Friday, December 14th, right after school. There will also be a Mario Kart tournament after school and a bake-off after school. Next Friday, during school, there will be a soccer tournament, a lip-sync battle, a dodgeball tournament, and a kickball tournament. Participants and spectators will sign up in advance to get out of class that day to attend these events. In sports news, our wrestling team placed 8th in the Solanco Mule Tournament. The boys basketball team was 3rd in the Bermudian Springs Tip-Off Tournament. The girls basketball team was 2nd in the NL Lady Viking Tip-Off Tournament. The chamber choir Magical Feast and the high school chorus and band concert have passed. The middle school and elementary band concerts are coming. The elementary concerts and middle school are this week. The middle school concert is this Thursday. On December 1st, 11 cross-country team members volunteered their time to ring the bell at BG's for the Salvation Army's annual Red Kettle campaign. They mentioned that a little bit earlier. On November 27th, 27 Northern Lebanon High School students, led by Miss Rhonda Sowers and Mrs. Tricia Schafebook, embarked on a 3-day, 2-night marine science field experience in Lewis, Delaware, Cape Henlopen State Park, and the University of Delaware. The students explored 5 different mini ecosystems in coastal ecology. They toured a research vessel with the University of Delaware. They hiked in the maritime forest. They harvested organisms in a tidal flat, and they had a beach and dune ecology tour, as well as tested water quality and soil in the salt marsh. In addition to the field experiences, they participated in a lab and lecture series in their evenings. A group of students from the volunteer club went to the Lebanon Rescue Mission on Sunday, December 9th. While there, they prepared and served a meal for the men who live there, as well as members of the community. Members of the Future Business Leaders of America, here at NL, competed at the Regional Leadership Conference at Central Penn College this past Monday. 5 members qualified to move on and compete at the State Leadership Conference to be held in Hershey in April. On November 16th, Nicole Feringer from Penn State Milton S. Hershey Medical Center gave a presentation on juuling and e-cigarettes to the fall semester 8th grade health classes. She will be back for a similar presentation to the students in April. There is also middle school and high school artwork displayed by the high school auditorium. We had 3 students make the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association District 7 band by audition. These 3 students were Josiah England on trombone, Gavin Long on French horn, and Caitlin Tipton on flute. 8 students made the Lancaster Lebanon Music Educators Association County Honors Band by director selection. And on November 30th and December 1st, the high school chamber choir put on the annual Magical Dessert Feast. Parents, students, and staff joined together to make the evening a success through decorating the cafeteria, selling tickets, and donating desserts for the buffet. The choir looks forward to continuing this tradition in years to come. And on behalf of the Student Council, have a happy holiday season.
Lindsay, thank you very much for that very thorough report. Lots of exciting things going on, and it's great to hear it. Moving on to our treasurer's report, Director Sekelic.
I don't really have a report because I just kind of came into this, and with my husband coming home, I haven't had much time and there's been a lot going on. So, Leanne, is there anything that you think I should be adding tonight since you had the large budget presentation?
We're in the middle of budget, like,
We're in the
starting the
middle of
process.
budget.
We just talked about it for an hour, so.
I think we're good there. I think we're covered.
We will now move on to our public input session for agenda items at this time. Interested persons have submitted a green form. A reminder that comments should be appropriate, and there is a 4-minute time period, and Mr. Skojan will be keeping time for us. Our first individual to come up and comment on the agenda item is Andrew Murphy.
Andrew Murphy, 1828 Blacksburg Road, Anvil, PA. Can you hear me now? Andrew Murphy, 1828 Blacksburg Road, Anvil. Want to comment on the consumer math course that is up for adoption. Back in the beginning of the school year, you guys asked them to do one thing to come up with another course for this second semester, and at the committee meeting last week, they presented something that was not what you asked. So I highly recommend that you reject it. You gotta show them that you guys are in charge. You got to show them that you have control over this district. You guys are the top dog. You guys are, the buck should stop here. Don't just let them run rampant over you and do whatever they want. They probably will anyway, but you gotta at least show them that you guys are gonna put your foot down, give them what you asked for. You wanted 2 different courses. You wanted to, because you didn't think that consumer math should be a whole credit. So you wanted that to be a half credit, and they were to come up with another course to complement it, to be offered to help seniors this year who had already registered for the consumer math before it was approved, before you guys approved it. So they were supposed to come up with another half credit course. They came back with a 1 credit consumer math course, which is, I don't know all the specifics, what they added, what they didn't, but it is not what you requested of them. I say reject it. Thank you.
Just from the board perspective, I would just like to clarify that the board has some different information, but Mr. Murphy, thank you for sharing your opinion. Our next individual to comment on the agenda is Lisa McCoy.
Lisa McCoy, 445 South Lancaster Street, Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I'm commenting on the 2 agenda items. One is consumer math. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I did send all of you an email in regards to the documentation that is out for the public in regards to what was asked of you according to the board minutes in August. As Mr. Murphy said, it was that board policy was put together, put forth to you, and then it was amended to only accept it as a half credit. As I stated in my email, Mr. Reese was on the list as being there as well. I can understand if maybe there's some miscommunication or misunderstanding. However, the minutes do speak for themselves. That was supposed to be a 0.5 credit course, and you are supposed to be giving the information, and adding rigor does not necessarily encompass adding a 0.5 credit to make it a full credit. And I feel that the board was smacked in the face last week after being asked from the administration to go back and redo this at a 0.5 credit. The other piece I want to touch on is the ag, as I have also sent to you in an email in regards to this. Have you bothered to ask or talk to the two agricultural teachers that we have in this district? Adding 6th grade, we're already bumping out high school kids, juniors and seniors who are not able to get the credit that they need in these large animal, small animal, ag. And as far as the FFA, have you looked at the pieces? I spoke with Mrs. Murphy for a long time after the meeting last week to give my opinion as she asked me to. And did you look at the information? The 6th grade stuff is not even something that they can't even be a part of the FFA. There's an FFA banquet every year. This climate is already not in a good state. So now you're going to give the 7th and 8th graders are supposed to take a 9th grade course that they cannot have any kind of sex ed put into it, as is what is in the course in 9th grade ag. And they can't even be recognized at a banquet. They're going to be left out. This isn't going towards a positive climate like the school is stating that they're going to. This is going towards negative climate. If you want to put an Ag 6 course in, fine, but put it in as an introductory to an introductory. Make it all of the pieces of Ag. Give them a taste of it so that they can see what it is that they could possibly be getting from our Ag department. If they want large animal, if they want floriculture, if they want landscaping, maybe look at it from that perspective and go about, see what we can offer, instead of just giving 6th graders and adding additional classes to 2 teachers to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade for ag, 2. It's not a whole entire climate of, or what is the word I'm looking for? It's not like 5, 6, 7, it's not a team, it's 2 people. You're not helping by adding this course. I don't think that it is wrong in what it is that you're trying to do, if I understand, but it needs to be done in such a way that it's an introductory piece and it's offered 6th, 7th, 8th maybe, to where we're not excluding FFA kids. These kids can't even do anything. They're not even recognized. You're messing up all of their pins. 1st year, 2nd year, you're messing up everything.
Thank you, Mrs. McFly. Moving on to approval of financial reports, I will move it over to our treasurer, Director Sekelic.
I'd like to motion to approve payment of vouchers and statement of cash transactions in the general fund in the amount of $2,989,000. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong line at the wrong time, sorry. $2,989,901 for a month ending November 30, 2018. There were no disbursements in the capital projects fund for the month ending November 30th, 2018.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Motion to accept the student activity account for month ended November 30th, 2018, subject to audit.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to our Budget and Finance Committee, Director Sekelic.
Motion to approve the resolution authorizing proposed preliminary budget display and advertising.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
There's a Motion to, oh, wait, is this just information? Okay, sorry, new one. For your information, the board will be appointing Stephen Ritter, the Assistant Business Manager, to serve on the Lebanon TCC Executive Committee beginning December 12th, 2018. Term of office is 1 year. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Director Skellick. Buildings and Grounds Director Brewer, please.
All right, disposal of items. Motion to approve the disposal of the following items as per board policy. Algebra, geometry, and business books, no longer needed.
Discussion. Roll call. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It was just very close.
Blended.
That's fine.
Any opposition, I'm sorry, just to clarify. Okay, thank you, Director Brewer. Director Murray, and I believe in her absence, it will be Director Bucks. Dr. Bucks.
So we have tentative adoption of 4 courses this evening. Before I make a motion, I just want to emphasize that this is tentative adoption. All 4 of these courses are currently in progress, but this tentative adoption only allows these courses to continue through the end of the academic year. In order for students to be enrolled in these classes in fall, all 4 of these classes need to go through the proper curriculum process that Mr. Scozen is putting in place and is in progress. So if this were to pass for any or all of these 4 courses, in order for these to be offered in fall, we will be through this again. So we will start with basic fitness. I motion to approve the tentative adoption of the new course, basic fitness.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Me.
Very good, Mrs. Okay.
The second one is AP US Government. I motion to approve the tentative adoption of AP US Government.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The third is Introduction to Agriculture 6. I motion to approve the tentative adoption of Intro to Ag 6.
Second. Discussion?
I'm going to discuss this, and the next one is I think where we're at right now, we're in December, kids are in the classes, this has happened. I think that we have acknowledged, I know Mr. Scojan has acknowledged, anybody who's had the opportunity to come into the committee meetings and sit down is hearing that we are acknowledging that many steps taken this year, at the beginning of this year, were not done correctly at the end of last year. Breakdowns in communications, lack of policies, lack of programs, lack of steps. There can be a dozen reasons to have it put out there. We as a board were faced with an awful situation because we had students enrolled in classes, students. And at this point, we've had students enrolled taking classes already. So I can vote no and stand where I stood before, I can vote yes, and I can move forward and I can say that this cannot happen again. I think that there isn't a single person up here on this board right now, nor administratively, that will allow this to happen again. Intro to Ag, as I said, I don't know what my no vote means other than me still standing with the fact that I don't think it should have happened for 6th grade. I don't think it should continue to happen for 6th grade. I know that there's nothing that we can do to put it back in the box because it's on the floor. My vote will be a no for this one. However, I understand that steps are being taken to fix these things, and as Director Bucks had said, this is for this year. Everything we are voting on tonight is for this year, so I'd like to just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Additional discussion? Roll call. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Me.
Myself.
And the last course is consumer math.
I motion to approve the tentative adoption of consumer math.
Second. Discussion?
I'm gonna discuss again. I'm actually gonna vote yes for this tonight, and I think that some people might be shocked because I was the one referenced as getting slapped in the face, as I was very adamant that I did not approve of the initial consumer math being presented to the board the way it was as one credit. It was very lacking. There were areas of it I would say was just downright awful, and our kids deserved so much better. And we were stuck. The reason it was split from one credit to a half credit now and a half credit later was because we needed to be presented with something that our kids deserved to take, because these kids were already in that class. These kids were in a class where if they didn't have this class, they wouldn't have graduated, and I don't really think anybody wanted to be put in that situation up here, and I sure didn't like being put in it, so I wanted to see it change. I don't care if it's a half credit or a full credit, as long as it was something that I thought our students were learning from, were taking valued to them into the real world as they were graduating. And I would like to thank, I don't remember the teacher's name off the top of my head, who's Mr. Hopkins. If you compare what was presented to us first and what was presented to us at that committee meeting, and I would like to apologize myself for being taken kind of aback just seeing that one credit appear. It was just kind of a shock. It was a, wait a minute, I didn't get the time to look through it. I wasn't able to see them side by side. I took the last week and put them side by side, and I am very, I'm happy with the progress that was made. I still think moving forward at the end of this year, I would like to see us do the same things we had talked about initially, which is really address the math department across the district, as well as put some focus back into family consumer science, since it seems like that's basically what this course is without the family part, and maybe give them some resources that they need to improve. But I will be voting yes for this, and it is more because it's about the kids. It's not about me standing up on my soapbox and demanding that you give them a half credit because I said a half credit. I can back down and I can say thank you for giving the kids an improved curriculum. So thanks for everybody that put an effort into that.
Further discussion? Roll call vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Director Klein, Extracurricular Committee.
All right, I have 2 consent items, 11.1 field trips, 11.2 coaches. A motion to approve the following consent items.
Second.
Roll call vote, or sorry, discussion? Roll call, all in favor? Aye. Anybody else? Aye, sorry. Opposed? Human Relations Director Erdman.
Human Relations has 2 items for consent, item 12.1 and item 12.2. And item 12.3. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 items. 12.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Mr. Skozen, Assistant Superintendent Report.
I just want to make a comment with regard back to looking at the curriculum item and the Ag 6. Just wanted to let you know. I do appreciate the comments made and Director Sikalik made, and I want to let Mrs. McCoy know the purpose we have those curriculum committees, as we did last week, is your input and concerns about the Ag Department in general don't go unheard. There'll be some information coming out to you and to the directors here that Mr. Reese
Graham.
Very kindly got with the Ag Department to answer a lot of the questions you raised at that committee meeting. And some of the directors had at that committee meeting as well. So if you haven't received it, you'll be getting that probably tomorrow in response to your email as well. And it'll generate some good discussion. I think I mentioned the last committee meeting about that with regard to Ag. It sounds like a good discussion to have going forward with the other courses. So what you say there does get heard. We follow up, we'll respond, and we'll continue to do that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Reports of representatives. Director Klein, anything to report for career and technology?
Nothing at this time.
Mrs. Director Murray is not in attendance tonight for our IU report. Director Sekelic, anything to report? All right, then we will move on to public input. Items not on the agenda. We have 1, 2, 3. We will begin with Jean Gundrum, sorry. Again, as she's making her way up here, it's 4-minute time period, and we ask that comments be respectful.
Hi, I'm Jean Gundrum, 56 Washington Avenue in Lebanon. I rewrote this like 50 times and I'm just gonna wing it. So, I'm just mad. I'm mad at the bullying and the fights and all of these things that are coming out lately. The racist things that have been coming out. We've had parents come to our group asking for help on how to handle the situations when their kids are getting beat up or bullied and who to talk to, and we feel like we don't know what direction to put them anymore. These kids are suffering. My kid is suffering. My child was diagnosed with PTSD and she is 16 years old. That is ridiculous. That shouldn't be like that. And when the doctor told me it is situational, it's the environment that is going on at school. Her triggers are a principal and another student. That shouldn't be happening. And my daughter's not the only one. I had another mother reach out, her daughter, the same thing, depression, anxiety, stress. These kids are on medicine that grown adults shouldn't be taking. Where do we go to? Because any administration that we talk to, except for Mr. Skozen, any person we've talked to, we've gotten no response. My kids have been dealing with this for 2 years, and not one administration has talked to my children. And Skozen is the first one that talked to my daughter. 2 years. Never a conversation with them, never a discussion with them. I have a mother come up and crying that her kids are being called the N-word daily. When her child reacted to that, because it's happening daily, he was reprimanded. How is that right? I don't get it. You can't pick and choose what kids are good kids, as it's said, and what kids to protect and what kids to follow policy with. It's just, eventually has to stop. And all of these fights, do you guys not see these? It's horrible. These kids are getting beat up almost on a daily. And it's horrible. And then you have, most of these kids are the kids that are sick of it. We're done, we're not doing it anymore, I'm not getting bullied anymore, nothing's happening, and they're retaliating. My daughter's not allowed back in this school. Doctor's orders. That's horrible. And I know you guys come from different school districts and that's where you work. And I know you kind of compare Northern Lebanon sometimes, where you talk about your school does this or this. I've looked at a lot of different schools and I can't find a school like Northern Lebanon right now. I can't. Every school has bullying, but at least they handle it, or they handle the fights, and it hasn't drug out for 2 years. I just don't know where to turn anymore. And the one person that is a trigger for my daughter, I've never been treated or have had my children or seen other students be treated as horrible as they've been. And I wish you guys would open your eyes on that, because I think eliminating one person would help a lot of these situations and a lot of parents. And right now, parents feel that their only option is just, can't do anything, why talk about it? And they're pulling their kids. They should be able to come to you guys. Erdman is the only one that responded to my email of my desperation when I found out that my daughter has PTSD. Not one of you guys even wrote back and said, I'm sorry, or anything. What kind of board is that? Like, you guys don't respond. Who else are we supposed to go to? There's nobody. There's no one else to go to. So guess what? Our kids are just left to deal with it and break. Because now we don't have kids that we're building up or anything. We have broken kids.
Our next request to the board is Lisa McCoy.
So their kid gets beat up.
Yeah, exactly. Start losing, yeah.
That can happen.
Thank you,
I'm still at 445 South Lancaster Street in Lebanon. I wanted to talk about some policies. I was at a meeting yesterday and it was kind of disheartening to see. It was put out to the entire district and it was put out on the district website and it was put out everywhere, Twitter, I mean, every possible thing you could possibly imagine that Northern Lebanon had. And there were 5 people there. 5. It is completely disheartening. Something that was supposed to be an eye-opener to show the community, to bring the community together. Not one board member, not one administrator, not anybody else other than the people who continuously stand up here and be accused of lying and having things be unfactual and untrue. It's a shame that the solicitor isn't here to hear that piece. I have brought my complaints. I have brought suggestions, pages of them. I have brought positivity. I have been cordial. I have been professional. I have done everything I possibly can to not kick, scream, holler, and carry on and want to string everybody up by their toes because nothing's being done. But I haven't done any of that. I've been positive. I've been professional. I've tried many things. I've asked for many SARC and everybody else to come in and do stuff for this community. And I have to deal with attendance policies not being followed. It's an attendance policy. A note is written, it's excused, period, end of story. I have to deal with a solicitor stating that I am a liar in writing on October 19th. I had to seek outside help. I had to blast everything across the media. I had to go to Bikers Against Bullying to get anybody to listen. In Canada, mind you. That should not happen. That should not happen. My kids have yet to be torn down. One of them because she doesn't have the neurological capacity to do so. The other one because I refuse to allow others to tear her apart. I continually give her affirmation about what a wonderful student she is. Thank God my first grader doesn't have to deal with that. Her culture in her school and that climate is secure. It is appalling to me. Continuously. Since May, I have been at these board meetings. Every single one of them, except for the one that I missed when I was supposed to be here because I was at a job away from my family. I understand that there's legalities. I understand that there's things that you have to do. We cannot wait any longer. You have got to pick a policy, pick a consequence. You have got to stand your ground. You are the end-all, be-all. You're the ones that the administration answers to. This has got to stop. Or we'll be up here when there's police officers outside, because there's all kinds of other nonsense happening within the school district. Things I don't even want to think about or even utter, because this is where it's going.
You can't even look at
Mr. Murphy?
Andrew Murphy, 1828 Blacksbridge Road. I was at Mr. Cobal's meeting yesterday. It was a good meeting. It was a very good meeting. Very poor turnout. As she said, 5 parents were there. Cobal was looking to try and see what we can do to help the bullying, to get rid of it, and trying to make a positive change. Unfortunately, there wasn't a good turnout. But as you can see, this yields towards the budget. Another kid not in our school, now going to cyber school. And you said charter schools in your chart was $11,000 a year. Ding, another budget hit. The more kids that do that route, the more expense to the budget. Gotta fix the culture. Want to talk about another thing. You guys got an IT problem. My son, who has a pornography addiction, is not allowed to have any electronic devices. He got another kid to give him their old cell phone. He went on your Wi-Fi, downloaded pornography on your school time. Now, here's the problem with that. Depending where he goes, depending what he downloads. I have a friend that has had her son come home. Where he's from overseas, and he had some legitimate stuff that's overseas, connected his device at her house, her ISP shut her internet off. If you don't secure your network, you can have your internet shut off, or large fines. You should have a content filter. You should make sure it works. And why don't we finally admit that we're having a lot of these problems because we are under a campus model that you guys didn't approve.
Under Section 18, dates to remember, I would like to draw your attention that our school board committee meeting will be on January 8th, considering the holiday. And then our official voting meeting will be January 15th. So please make note of that. Is there any new business? If not, then I adjourn the meeting.